He hates me. Hearing devices are available. Please see the city clerk if you need them. To avoid meeting disruption, please place cell phones in silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. All meetings are recorded. When addressing the Planning Commission, please sign in and state your name. Speak clearly into the microphone. Thank you for understanding. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Wagner, can you lead us in the pledge, please? Okay, let's take roll. I lost my pen. Commissioner Vanderheiden,
Present.
Commissioner Garvin,
Present.
Commissioner Wagner,
Present.
Commissioner Lewis,
Present.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Flores,
Present.
and I am Jenny McCullough, and we do have a quorum. This is the portion of the meeting devoted to the public. The public may comment on any matter that is not specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Items not included on this agenda cannot be acted upon other than to place them on a future agenda. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or use the raise your hand feature in Zoom, *9 if you are participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. The chair may, at her discretion, hold comments until the second public forum at the end of the meeting. Public comments submitted prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting will be provided to the Planning Commission and added to the record, but will not be read during the live meeting. Any public input received after 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be included in the record, but may not reach commission members before action is taken. Is there any public input?
Tammy Dittman for the record. So you're going to be talking about the Southwest Master Plan this evening. And unless nothing's changed, I didn't get time to look at the documents that were being presented to you. It looks like there's public taking of private land and some of that stuff. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And at the last city council meeting, an attorney for Norman also came up and said it looked like there was public taking. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. Be it none. Can we get approval of the agenda? Yes, sir.
I moved.
All right. We have what's the word I'm looking for? A motion. Thank you. Can we get a second? Yes, ma'am.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Can we please vote? And that passes 7-0. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? Commissioner Flores?
I moved to approve the minutes from the previous meeting of the Planning Commission.
All right, we have a motion. Can I get a second? Okay. Commissioner Wagner?
I'll second.
All right.
This
Can-
is Commissioner Lewis. I have to abstain from the vote as I was not here during last month's meeting.
Okay. Can we get a vote, please? Okay, that passes six with, six approved with one abstention. No.
I think so. Going back to the minutes, I think there's one mistake. Is that the Southwest Area Plan indicates that the yes votes were Commissioner Williams, Chair McCullough, Commissioner Flores, and Commissioner Gavin, and that the no votes were Commissioner Wagner and Commissioner Holt. I'm almost positive one of the no votes was Chair McCullough.
I was the no vote too. I think it was just you and Commissioner Holt that voted no. Sorry. Everybody else was yes.
Aaron Mortson, City Attorney, we can go back and listen to the recording and then we can bring back the minutes for you to approve at the next meeting. We'll just do the approval for both. And we'll review the tapes and see exactly what it was to make sure it's accurate.
Yeah, it was 4-2. We'll figure out who the two were and correct it if we need to.
All right. Yeah, because I was on Zoom that night. Sorry, I was on Zoom that night. Okay, so we'll go back and look at that.
Yeah, we'll listen to recordings and we'll bring back and make sure that the minutes are accurate.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, 2.1, review of the current planning commission bylaws. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, members of the commission. Michelle Rambo, Planning Director for the record. I just wanted to take some time. We have some new members. We have some other things that have happened in recent meetings, not necessarily with you guys. That I just wanted to make sure that we were all aware of the rules of the meetings. I have a clicker. There it is. Okay, so your current bylaws were adopted the first time in 2001. Most recently revised last year. So since we have a couple of new people since then, we'll just go through, make sure we're all on the same page. So there are sections including membership, absences, election of officers, powers and duties, meetings and conduct, and ethics and responsibility. And there's a few others, but I didn't include everything. So absences. There is a difference between excused absences and unexcused absences. So excused absences are a personal emergency of the commissioner or a family member, or unavoidable with a 24-hour advance notice. So in order to be an excused absence, you have to give me 24 hours advance notice. Otherwise, it's an unexcused absence. So an unexcused absence is anything not falling into the excused absence category, which makes sense. And there's 4 allowable unexcused absences per year. The mayor at that point may choose to remove you from the planning commission. So you do contact me per the bylaws to contact me when you're going to be absent. You can let the city clerk know, but I need to know. So make sure you're contacting at least me when you're planning not to be here. Okay, election of officers. Elections are held every January for the chair and the vice chair. 1-year terms for those positions. No more than 2 consecutive terms in a single office. So in our case now, Chairwoman McCullough is on her 2nd term. So she would not be able to do it again next year. But there's nothing that says she couldn't come again and do it another year from now. So it's just the 2 consecutive that we have to pay attention to. A vacancy of the chair or the vice chair. If for some reason, one or both were not on the commission anymore, then we would have an election for that office at the next meeting. And then your term would expire the following January for whoever gets that seat. And then depending on where it falls in the year, you may or may not get another 1 year or 2 year term. Powers and duty. Chair presides. And the chair is also the one that ensures compliance with all the rules of procedure, which are a whole separate document. If you don't have that, I can get you a copy. The vice chair serves as the presiding officer when the chair is absent. Okay, those two are pretty self-explanatory. All other commissioners have the duties, arrive on time, review all meeting material prior to the meetings, notify the planning director when unable to attend, and then wait to speak until acknowledged by the chair. We do that so it doesn't become a free-for-all with everybody talking over each other. Conduct. The chair has the authority to eject any person whose behavior disturbs or causes interruptions. And that's for both public people and for other fellow commissioners. So prohibited behavior is anything profanity, vulgar language or gestures, insulting or demeaning language, frivolous comments, interrupting or intimidating. Now we get to abstentions. Per the bylaws, the abstentions shall be announced at the beginning of an item. So you have to let us know beforehand if you're abstaining. It's weird, I know. Commissioner who is abstaining shall move to the public area during the agenda items discussion. So you have to get up and move out here to the audience. NRS does discourage abstentions from planning commissioners or councilmen or anybody, stating that abstention disrupts the normal course of representative government and deprives the public of a voice. Now, in tonight's case, where we had a commissioner who wasn't here last month, sorry, that one's understandable. You abstain. It's not a big deal. It doesn't disrupt the rule of order. It also goes on to say only abstain when a gift or loan has been received, have a pecuniary interest, or you have a connection to the project, such as family, business relationship, or a close personal friendship. So if you have any of those, you don't quite know if you need to abstain or not, contact either me or Aaron, and we will let you know the right way to go. Okay, here's some other miscellaneous things I thought I'd point out. Commissioners are allowed and encouraged to conduct site visits. So if you want to go out and look at a project site, you're more than welcome to do that. Commissioners are allowed to attend council meetings. However, there's a clause in there that says you may not comment or express the opinion of the commission on planning items. So you can come to the commission, but you have to be careful what you say. Special meetings may be called by the chair when necessary. So if anybody has something comes up, Jenny has the right to call a special meeting to discuss. Written information and materials provided by the applicant or representative shall be received a minimum of 3 working days in advance of a planning commission meeting. So what that's saying is that if we don't get something from an applicant before 3 working days, then it doesn't get to the meeting. Now, how that works, do we continue something? Do we table something? That will be decided based on what it is. But that is the rule, 3 working days in advance. Okay. There is no current rules in your bylaws for social media. However, I thought we'd go over a few suggestions. You have the First Amendment right to be on social media. I'm not telling you not to. But when you're doing it, remember you are a representative of the city. Do not endorse one business over another. Do not advocate for violence, even if you're joking. It's not a good look. Open meeting laws apply to social media posts. So if Chairwoman McCullough posts something and Commissioners Holt and Flores and Williams comment, we violated open meeting laws. So you have to be careful on those. It's encouraged to have separate public and private accounts. So you have one that's your private personal one, and then you have one as Planning Commissioner McCullough or Planning Commissioner Garvin. That way it's very clear to the public of what context you're speaking in. Don't block people or delete comments. That becomes an issue with First Amendment. And then coordinate official announcements with staff. So if you're going to say, hey, look, the city's doing this, you need to let us know beforehand so we know that you're doing that. Okay. That's the wrong button. I don't know why I'm pushing that button. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. I also just wanted to mention there has been some discussion amongst city recently about coming up with some rules for Zoom attendance at meetings. So you may be seeing those coming up soon. I don't know what they are yet, but we may be coming. We don't have a policy. We may be coming up with one. So that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Commissioner Wagner?
Oh, there was an interesting article published this morning in the Reno Gazette Journal about Senate Bill 48. Are you familiar with that?
I don't have them all memorized by
Okay.
number.
You know, I didn't expect you to, but I guess that there is a bill out there that the city of Reno is championing, kind of city of Reno politics, where they are trying to make planning commission members at will appointments of the city council. So city council can come in and remove planning commissioners whenever they want. I obviously have some concerns about that, not just like for who's on our board, but for the future of Fernley. Like, I think we're a very independent board from the city council. Do you have any indication of where that's going? Does the city have a stance on that bill? Would it affect our bylaws?
This is the first time I'm hearing of it, so I will have to go look into it and see what's going on.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, I can just speak very briefly to that. As it currently stands, the requirement under the NRS for the removal is that the city or the city council has to remove has to find just cause. Under SB 48, if I'm looking at that correctly, it would have it that the commissioners serve at the pleasure of the appointing authority, so they'd essentially be at will. We can bring back a discussion of that in the future, but the difference is that they would essentially lower the bar required for the removal of planning commissioners.
Okay. You okay there? Commissioner Holt, did you have a question?
Good, thank you. Can I get clarification on the endorsement on Facebook rule? Is it that you cannot endorse any business because it's endorsing them over another? Or is it specifically saying, don't use option A because option B is better? Because as a realtor who has affiliated businesses, I endorse often lenders and title and et cetera. Is that a conflict?
I'm going to let Aaron answer that one.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, there's not a hard and fast rule here,
Okay.
unfortunately, that I can give you. My advice would be that if you imagine yourself sitting up here and having to explain your Facebook comments in terms of endorsement to something that related to that, then you should probably not post it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores?
Yeah, I have a more general question. Sometimes I travel to another state and I come across some business people on occasion, very occasionally. And I'm wondering, am I allowed to mention that Fernley is a place they might have moved to and refer them to the mayor's office? That's no problem with that, is there?
I don't see any problem.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, that would be just fine.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, 3.1, discussion and possible action regarding resolution number 25-004 associated with a master plan amendment application MPA 25002 submitted by the city of Fernley to adopt the Southwest Fernley Area Plan document for approximately 11,800 acres, generally located south of the Truckee Canal and west of Highway 50, 95 alternate.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Michelle Rambo, Planning Director again for the record. We do have a new map, if we could get down, see the whole thing maybe. The map that's in your packet is the old version. This new version just was agreed upon on Monday. So I did not have time to put it in your packet, but we do have it here to show you. Since you guys heard this last, we did take it to council. There was a technical issue with the voting. We did need a 5 supermajority vote from the planning commission. So the city council just referred it back to you guys to revote on it and see if we could get that supermajority. In the meantime, we have had discussions with the Tri-2 folks about their properties. Can you scroll down a little bit more, Susie? Okay, I'm trying to hardly use Susie. Sandy, I don't know why. Anyway, there was some workshops and some discussions with Tri-2. Once we get the map show, and I'll explain to you, they have agreed to keep a lot of the open space. They want to have area for high density, medium density, low density housing, and a little pocket of commercial. And so we did present them with a compromise version, which I showed some of you earlier last week, I think. And it's changed a little since then. So I do want you to see. Okay, so planning area 24, which is up on the top left. That's one of their parcels. This is another one of their parcels down here. And then this one down here that's cut off is the third, well, it's actually 2 parcels. These 2 are 1 parcel. And this one down here is a separate second parcel. So if you remember, we had open space. Oops. There we go. We had open space over a lot of this. We still have a lot of open space over it. But along the bypass road is where they've requested high density, medium density, and commercial with a little more medium density here. Oop. So we have decided, we've discussed this, which still gives us a lot of open space. And then when you count this future parcel here, which right now is BLM, and it will be turned over to the city as part of a lands bill, we can keep that parcel, keep it recreation, parks, public purpose, whatever we decide. And that would join all of this green space together into the big regional park that the public and the city councils wanted to see there. So I do have an email from Tri-2 agreeing to this proposal. The document itself needs to be revised just to clean it up and make the acreages the right size for each different use. We can either, there's 2 options tonight. We can either vote on this tonight and have the finished document move on to council, or you can wait until the finished document is ready and then vote on it at a later date. Just want to give you an option to do whichever you felt more comfortable with.
So question, so what needs to change on this document? Just the actual acreage?
Yeah, there's several pages in the document that list the acreages of each type of use. And since those have been changed around, those need to be updated. The other thing that needs to be updated is the fiscal impact analysis, because again, the acreages have changed and the fiscal impact analysis is based on the acres. So it's pretty minor changes. The overall voice of the document is not changing. It's just changing some minor details with the acreage and the numbers.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Airfield, okay?
Mhm.
That open space right down there, that's the racetrack, near the racetrack?
That's the racetrack.
Okay.
It's designated recreation. It's not open space.
Now, is that really acting also as maybe a flood control area? Because that area has a lot of hills around it. I presume there is a flood control plan for this area, right?
Not yet. That is part of the infrastructure plan that will be done next year with the new budget. We will go back and examine all of the infrastructure, the water, the sewer, the drainage, the power, gas, everything will be looked at.
Okay, because that part is since most of Fernley, if you look at the map, most of Fernley is actually hilly. If you look at the the municipal boundary, I understand that we're not developing there, but a lot of it is. So flatland is kind of a little bit of a premium, in my opinion. So I think some places take care of runoff and some by building lakes, artificial lakes, so it doesn't take up so much acreage and create an excavation there. Is there any? I know it costs, but is there any thought to that? Maybe we think we have plenty of land, so we don't have to do that.
The current idea is that we would create a storm drain system.
Okay.
So it would all go underground through
Oh, okay.
pipes and get let out somewhere where, I don't know where yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That would be part of what the storm drain or the infrastructure plan would figure out.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I need to know.
Can you move the map down? Yeah. So they're just wanting that space right there in that PA 25
Mm-hmm.
for what they want, and everything else is going to be
Right.
recreation.
PA 23 is high density, which is up there at the top corner.
Okay.
PA 25, medium density. And then PA 26, commercial, right along the big road. That's the major road through the area.
And before this proposal, that bypass, that was all open,
It was all open space.
open. So it's just that little bit.
And the portion down below, PA 29, PA 27, those are new. And then the PA 30 and 31 are new.
Because originally we had that all open space, right?
Yes,
And it was originally zoned as open space.
it's zoned rural residential.
Oh, it is rural residential?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You don't.
Well, this document's going to change. Oh, no, this should be the only change. Yeah. For before you adopt it.
I'm a little reluctant to not see the final acreage on the map, actually. Makes me a little,
Okay. That's why I, gave you the option to maybe table it tonight and come back when the final document's ready.
I think that you're saying that these are very close. They're going to be changed a little bit, correct?
Yeah. I mean, the document is meant as a guide. It's not a set in stone. So those lines might adjust a little bit. The roads might go in a little bit different
Right.
location. There's a couple of developments we know that are going to come in and maybe change some of this to meet what they want to do, but that's years down the road.
Right. I mean, I think personally, I'm okay with adjusting the acreage a little bit, but that's probably something that we need to vote on, correct? Or can we do like a little?
To vote on the changing of the acreage?
I think we should talk about it.
Well, the changing of the acreage is just going to be, no, sorry.
Vote on it tonight if we want to table it. How do we decide amongst ourselves?
Aaron
Have
Morton,
a
city
discussion.
attorney, you would make a motion. So you'd entertain a motion, either that can be a motion to approve it or deny it today, or in the alternative, it could be a motion to floor it or to table it and set it for the next city council or the planning commission meeting.
Does anybody have any other questions for Michelle regarding the map or regarding?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Yes.
What is the purpose of the low density residential going through that open space?
That's the topography. It's a little flatter in that area. And it's more developable. So we agreed to let them have that little area go up into and their idea is to provide, in that area, some more high-end homes. So there'll probably be bigger lots.
And so this is avoiding the public taking.
Yeah, this is agreed to by Tri-2. I have a letter from them agreeing that this matches their vision.
Okay.
They've signed off on this.
And what other open space is around this area in the Southwest? Not just this, but is there on the west side? This is more on the south.
Yeah, if you scroll up, there's a couple of park lands designated. Then there's that open space up between the commercial and the low density. That's the Sage Street area right now.
That PA2,
PA2. Yeah,
but down below, that was
it.
intended to be the big.
Oh, yeah, it was suggested that we have a big regional park down in that area.
I'm just going back to the comments that the public wanted when creating these areas. And one of their biggest things was to have these open spaces for recreation. And I don't know.
Well, if you look at it, if we scroll back down, that not a part, that's not inside the area plan. So we were not considering that before.
No, I understand that.
So we're just pushing the residential out a little bit and then the open space out beyond that. So it's the same concept. It's still a big open space, but it allows Tri-2 to develop what they want to do.
So I'm just looking at medium density residential butting up against the light industrial, which I guess those are going to be rental homes. And then that low density residential, which are going to be higher end homes that are cutting through this larger open space across from commercial, which
Well, you keep the scale in mind. This is 1 square, 640 acres. So there's quite a bit of space between that commercial and the low density down below it. There's plenty of room to have, trails and disc golf or horseshoes or whatever ends up going out in there.
But then the low density residential down below, which is also going to be butting up against that light industrial too. There's no buffer.
There will have to be, if you remember back with the North Area Plan, we approved design guidelines to go with those. There are provisions in those design guidelines that would provide for buffers between different land uses. So just because it shows on the map like this right now doesn't mean it's not gonna go up directly to the street on either side. They'd have to provide a buffer on both sides.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. I've been to one of these meetings where we've had to excuse some of those things just because of the area and what's happening and because things aren't developed here and whatever. And then nobody would ever want to build out there because nobody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
There's a couple of safeguards. Most everything in this area is going to have to be done as a planned development because they're that big. The developments are that big. So as part of the plan development, we can require extra. There's the design guidelines that will also help. There's also, now I lost my train of thought. Each individual, going kind of along the same lines as the plan development, each individual development is going to come back before you to be looked at and approved. So this isn't the last time you'll see this, and you'll get to approve each development. And you can always add conditions for extra buffering if that's what you guys agree to vote on.
That's what I'm afraid of. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, Commissioner Flores.
Yeah, regarding your medium density residential area, I forgot, does that include duplexes for medium density?
It could include triplexes. I think it includes duplexes. It could be small lot subdivisions. It could be
Okay,
any number of apartments. It could be anything.
it could be anything, okay.
I mean, residential wise.
Residential
yes.
wise, but, okay, but not low density single homes necessarily.
No, they would need to come in and change that if that's what they decided to do there.
All right, thank you very much.
Jake, did you have a question?
Yeah, just on the topic of plan development. So in the area plan on page 30, it even references like the challenges of building that bypass, over a river and a railroad and a canal, and then the topography to get there. Is that something that would come back to the planning commission? Like, hey, before any of that commercial area can be developed, we can have some type of stipulation in there that that road has to be complete. Because anything commercial in that area coming down like current Main Street and Alt 95 is going to be a pretty large traffic flow for such a tight intersection. So just wondering like what that looks like. I know we don't decide that today, but just the process behind it.
Yeah, as projects come in, whether they're individual, maybe a CUP, or whether they're a plan development, there's always the option. Planning Commission always has the option to add conditions. So you could add a condition requiring that the road be in by a certain point. So it's unknown at this point. It basically would be decided case by case based on what staff finds to be important or what needs to be looked at based on the code. And then you guys can come back and add conditions as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a guesstimate when you took the original plan that we looked at with that being all open space to now the areas that were removed and changed to density and commercial? how much was taken away in that? And then comparing that, how much do they actually gain because of the additional 640 acres behind it being dedicated? Ultimately, my question is, how much more open space do we get because of this plan?
It comes out to be about the same.
It's about equal?
Yeah.
And then do we have a guesstimate of how much more revenue is created by these new additions?
That's part of the fiscal impact analysis that still needs to be redone.
But it would
But
have
it would,
a
the numbers will
higher-
go up
Yep.
because you've got more property tax coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Right, do we have some public input?
Good evening, Derek Kirkland with Wood Rogers. We're representing the Tri2 LLC, the Norman family. I do want to just to thank Planning Commission, also City Council and staff for kind of taking a step back and working with us. We've had a lot of great meetings over the last few weeks, especially with staff and kind of working with a couple planning commissioners through some workshops and having some discussion about Tri2's future plans and, ultimately kind of looking at the bigger picture of this plan. Obviously, there's a major road, and that was one of the topics we talked about with, having open space on one side of that road. Definitely hinders the ability to capture development to help pay for some of that infrastructure. So we feel like there's been a really good compromise in terms of we heard the community. They want to maintain some open space. Obviously, we start to get up the hill, and it is important to maintain some of that. So we try to work with staff pretty cooperatively in terms of keeping that open space, but trying to come up with some decent pods of development and kind of building that future vision for this area and kind of maintaining what the original kind of what we heard from some of the public. We support this plan. We feel like where we're at today is a much better spot. I think, as Michelle said, there was an email that provided that support as well. I think going forward, obviously, we're going to have the next steps for Tri2 would be planned unit development. The vision of the Normans is, less focused on industrial. We heard the community loud and clear. They don't want to see industrial going up that hillside. The Norman family actually did develop a lot of the South Meadows area where you see a lot of light industrial, you see apartments, townhomes, single family, commercial. And so they're based on what we heard from the community, that's kind of their new vision. They're also talking about changing some of the properties, the name on those from Tri2 LLC and coming up with something else that's more conducive to the type of development that you see with this new plan. So I think there's, a lot more to go in terms of the development, but we're going to continue working with the city after this process is complete. Kind of building the plan development and looking at this vision obviously takes a little bit for us to get there, but I just want to say thank you to the city for accommodating the Tri2 LLC group and letting us come in and kind of rework the vision a little bit, and hopefully going forward we can continue that relationship and just look forward to continuing to work with the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input? Anybody on Zoom? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Sorry, I just got to do it. Hopefully you do not approve this tonight because, as Michelle Rambo said, it's not ready. It just came out Monday and she said she still has to do some stuff. So hopefully you table it for the next meeting. Thank you.
Any other public input? And anybody on Zoom? Okay. Be it none. Any additional discussion with the Planning Commission and staff? Commissioner Wagner?
I know I was a no vote last time. I just wanted to put on record, I certainly appreciate Blake's work on this over the last couple of weeks. For whatever reason, I was kind of in the middle of a number of these discussions. I think he did a great job navigating some of the interests of the developers with community interests. I'm a lot more comfortable with voting for this tonight. The two things I just want to put on record. One is I think the number 40,000 plus residents in this planned area was brought up at one of our meetings. For me, I mean, that's tripling the size of Fernley. For me, as a resident, that's a scary number. Obviously, there's a lot that has to happen for that to even come close. But I don't, if there was a way to make it a 10,000 person deal instead of 40, I think that would be a lot more comfortable for me going forward. And then the second is obviously the transportation part of this. And Commissioner Vanderheiden already talked about it, but as we go through that plan, the number multiple hundreds of millions of dollars to potentially build that bypass. To me, I'd like some consideration to like improving what we already have, the underpass under the railroad on the west side of town, the intersection at Pilot, all of that stuff, hundreds of millions of dollars would go a long way improving that. And maybe there's some alternative options other than building a bypass road that a lot of people might not even use. But that's not going to prevent me from voting on this tonight.
Commissioner Flores.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that although maybe the public is allergic to industrial zoning or light industrial zoning, remember that will determine how many good jobs, blue collar jobs mostly, are going to be generated in Fernley. So if you shut down in favor of just retail and storage units and residential, the job space is going to be pretty limited in Fernley. I just want to point that out and put it on record there for the public to understand that. Okay, and that's all.
All right. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Let's move forward with a motion. Anybody got a motion? Commissioner Wagner.
I move to approve resolution number 25-004 associated with MPA 25002 and recommend that the city council certify resolution number 25-004 to adopt the Southwest Fernley area plan document as presented by staff tonight with some minor edits that Ms. Rambo referenced.
Okay, we have a motion. Can I get a second? I, Commissioner McCullough, will second that. And can we please vote? Okay, and that passes 6-1. Okay, next item, chair and commission items. Are there any chair or commission items? Commissioner Wagner?
Just, I think I had two things in the docket. One, I know Aaron's working on a discussion of SF6 zoning and possible options that we have in requiring larger lots. And the second being data center rules, regulations, things that we can move forward with as a city.
Aaron Morrison, City Attorney. I'll follow up with Chris Molina and see where he's at in preparing that.
Okay, anything else? Commissioner Holtz?
So I just wanted to say, I went to the city council meeting most recently, and I just felt like there's a disconnect. If we're supposed to vote on something to help them decide their vote potentially, that if we're voting against something, is there a possibility we give a synopsis of what was offered, what was said, what was negotiated with, and give them an idea of why we voted against it? Because they just get this item, they were told we voted against it, and they look at it like, why do they think this way? And I'm biting my tongue and was told I wasn't allowed to speak, which is part of these bylaws I learned today, that's not our reasoning behind it, and that wasn't the thought to it in any way. So I just feel like there's a disconnect between us voting and then them voting without any understanding between the two.
I'm Michelle Rambo, Planning Director. Most of the time, yes, we give them an explanation.
Okay.
That particular for the Southwest area,
It wasn't for that.
it wasn't this one? Okay. Oh, I think I know which one you mean.
Do you want me to tell you which one it was?
Yeah.
Brown Lane?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to go back and look. I'll have to go back and look at that one because I thought we had talked about something about what the planning commission said, but I will double check. And yes, if we should be providing an explanation to the city council as to why you guys voted one way or
Because
the
they
other.
looked at it and they just thought, why would somebody require them to do X, Y, and Z per the thing? And that wasn't what we were trying to have them do. We were trying
Right.
to have them subdivide it differently, was our push with it when we voted, but they did not get that information. And so it was kind of like they just got it for the first time fresh with no
Mhm.
reasoning on why we would have voted against.
Okay. Why don't we chat after the meeting
Okay.
and I'll see what I can come up with.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Item 5, planning director items.
Yes, ma'am. Michelle Rambo, planning director. First of all, if you're wondering who this lovely lady over here is, who's been sitting here, this is Elisa Johansson. She's our new senior planner. So you will be seeing quite a bit of her. She's fantastic. Just gonna say it. So she's going to be doing some of the things that I've been doing while we've been minus the city planner. She'll start to take over. So you'll be seeing more of her. I also have an update, city council actions from April 16th. The Brown Road topic that Commissioner Holtz brought up, they did grant the appeal for that applicant. So which basically just waived the curb, gutter, and sidewalk. And then they remanded the Southwest area plan back to you. So that was it. And then for the May 7th meeting, there was nothing planning related on that agenda. So that's all I have. You can come chat with Elisa and get to know her, and I'm sure she'll take any ideas you have. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Let's address request for future agenda items. Be it none. This is the portion of the meeting devoted to the public. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting or use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. *9 if you're participating via Zoom, or I'm sorry, *9 if you're participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. Is there any public input? If you are speaking at the podium, please print your name on the sheet provided.
Hello, Becky Hallett for the record. We could hear Michelle really well. But when you guys talk, some of you talk, we could hardly hear you at all. So I don't know if your microphones aren't on or if you just needed to get a little closer to the microphone. Cody's good. Cody doesn't need a microphone. But Michelle was loud and clear, but sometimes when you guys were talking, it was hard to hear you. Thank you.
Which ones were hard of hearing? Was it me or was it?
Okay, thank you. Anybody on Zoom? No? Okay, our next meeting will be June 11th at 5 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.